Hey, hey, we're the bearded idiots. Hang on, I'm gonna pour myself a drink.
Ha! Bearded idiots. You got that right. Sorry, I'm beating the...
We're the bearded imbeciles. So we're gonna watch this video by Mr. Plinkett entitled...
In filmmaking, there's a concept called the triangle of truth. This idea includes three things: fast, cheap, and good. The idea goes that you can't have all three. You can make it fast and cheap, but it's not going to be good. And you can make it good and fast, but it's not going to be cheap. And so on. You get the idea, I hope. I'm going to apply a similar concept to a Star Wars movie. Except my triangle will include these items: characters, story, and emotion.
So why is emotion separate from characters? Because shouldn't they be, like, directly connected?
Yeah, you're right, because how can you get emotions from anything other than characters?
Maybe he just needed a third one, so it could be a triangle.
These are more check marks rather than a triangular formula. But just stick with me for a minute, I'll explain it. And as you'll soon see, certain films can include all three. The original Star Wars trilogy succeeded so well because they hit all the marks. Humor and action is essentially this.
I thought humor was a part of emotion.
But I think that's what he's saying, like, you've got emotion and then you've got, like, sub-points for humor. So it's like this weird, like, backwards system that he's got set up here.
It's a little bit convoluted, but... whatever.
Why did he bring up the triangle, saying you can't tick all three? And then he's like, I'm going to do my own triangle, but instead of it being a triangle, it will be a checklist. And instead of not being able to do all three, the originals did all three.
Why didn't he just start saying, okay, this is what a movie needs to impress me. It needs these three things. The originals tick these.
Yeah, it's like this just random, dumb thing. And maybe that's like a joke, but I don't understand it.
Let's take a look at The Force Awakens. Now it hit 2 out of 3 marks, which made it passable. Our characters had some likable qualities to them.
You set me up for it. That was pretty good.
He said 3PO. I'm sorry, but did he not say I'm sorry.
Moments that made them feel like real people, which helped us connect. We rooted for them, we felt for them, and we suffered with them.
Almost like the emotion and the characters are connected in some way.
Thus, we had an emotional connection when shit hit the fan. If The Force Awakens didn't retread A New Hope's plot, it'd get a big check mark right here. But it did. And I don't think I need to go into this any further. Now let's look at Rogue One.
Let's just get this over with, shall we?
I got no check marks from me. Yes, Rogue One had humor.
There's a 26% chance of failure. I don't know, I'm not sure. I never really come this way.
But isn't the humor connected to the emotion and the characters?
Yeah, but I think because they're subsets, you need to tick the big box for them to work. So I think he's saying if there's no characters and emotion, then the humor doesn't, then the humor is just distracting. But as long as there's characters and emotion, there can be... It's convoluted.
But the humor...
It's a weird convoluted
The humor
triangle.
has to come from the characters, which means they need certain character traits to produce humor.
It received no check marks from me for obvious reasons.
What chance do we have? The question is what choice? Run, hide, plead for mercy, scatter your forces.
What does it mean to put a laugh track over a scene where someone's like having a big speech? I don't get it.
Yeah, it works for the prequels because like you don't need to say why like some of those scenes are hilarious.
It was so beautiful.
It's only because I'm so in love.
No, no, it's because I'm so in love with you.
Like they're just so bad that they're just funny. So like the romance stuff and whatever, but this, I don't know, I don't see anything really wrong with this.
Like you could do the same with the scene where Darth Vader and Obi-Wan meet each other and Darth Vader's like,
The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but a learner. Now I am the master.
Only a master of evil, God.
You could put a laugh track over that.
Yeah, easily.
Does that make it shit?
Now let's compare two scenes. Are you ready? Now here's a similar scene from A New Hope.
Get behind me! Get behind me!
There's one difference between these two scenes. One contains characters we actually like.
Okay, so what you're doing is you're showing a scene where the main character is beating up some stormtroopers, and then another character is having a reaction to that. So it kind of defeats your own argument because there is actually character stuff going on in the scene. And the funny thing is you cut it short.
Did you know that wasn't me?
There was heaps of character shit going on there. But then you compare that scene to where they're fighting some stormtroopers to a scene where Han Solo and like all the other characters are kind of having their little moment, like meeting each other. And I don't think it's really fair to compare the two. You could just as easily take the scene earlier on when they're just shooting the whole place up and not talking at all, and they're all wearing helmets, you can't see their faces or anything. Take that scene and compare it to a scene where the characters are actually talking to each other during a fight scene in Rogue One, and you could say the exact same thing. You could make the exact same argument.
And finally, context. Without the Star Wars IP and familiar things, imagine Rogue One as a movie called People Trying to Get Plans for a Super Weapon. These characters would just be generic science fiction characters. This guy would be talking about some kind of mystical thing we never get to see, and we're just told what it is, sort of.
May the Force be with us.
The Force?
Then these things would probably just look like this. Generic science fiction machines or robots or weapons.
The good thing here is that, right, like you can say, okay, imagine if we take away all the elements you like. Like, sure, you can say that, and then it's like, oh, then it's not as good because you're taking away. But the thing is, right, we don't, because it is a Star Wars movie that takes place before A New Hope. Everyone has seen A New Hope. Everyone knows what the context is already, so you don't need it.
It's all Star Wars, so of course it's going to have Star Wars things. Like, you can't just say, but what if you take away the Star Wars things?
What if you took away the Star Wars things from The Force Awakens?
Yeah, exactly.
You know how, like, that movie wouldn't have much to it if you took away elements that were Star Wars-y, because it was, like, composed entirely of Star Wars elements. Make the fucking same argument for that movie.
It does it a lot worse than Rogue One does it. I love Force Awakens, but
Yeah, me too.
But it even kind of just does the same story as A New Hope, which is like the most popular complaint. But that's like worse than just using Star Wars imagery.
And he hasn't really used an example of how Rogue One doesn't have story.
He's just using this weird triangle shit to sort of not talk about anything. I mean, maybe he'll address it in this last 2 minutes of this really short, pointless video.
We'd ask ourselves, who's in charge? Who's our main bad guy? Is it that guy? Is it this other guy? Is it that weird guy in a Halloween costume?
Okay, so in the opening scene of the movie, right, a spaceship lands and a guy walks out with a big cape, and he basically torments this family. And then he shoots Jyn Erso's mother in front of her, and then he kidnaps her father. That's the bad guy of the movie, in case you were wondering. There's also a guy who wears a black cloak, and he has a deep voice, and he strangles people. That's also a bad guy. There's a really creepy-looking fucking weird CGI cunt as well, in this thing called a Death Star. That's another bad guy, okay? So you have 3 really well-established bad guys and 1 main one, okay? Those... In case you were wondering, that's your answer.
Why are these 2 guys mucking up the story? And how the heck did that one guy in the giant plastic helmet choke that other guy like that? Nobody told me.
The Force is what gives the Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things.
No, the weird guy in the Halloween costume, you see, is a very popular character. I believe he's called Darth Vader. Everyone knows about him.
He's basically saying, what if this Star Wars movie wasn't a Star Wars movie, then it wouldn't be a good Star Wars movie, instead of saying, is this Star Wars movie a good Star Wars movie? Like, he's complete. I don't understand why he expects them to make a Star Wars movie that doesn't have Star Wars elements, especially if it's meant to lead up into A New Hope. It's got to look like Star Wars. It's in an established universe.
Everyone recognizes Star Wars at this point, and they're aware of that, so they make the movie. Like, everyone's like, oh, it's Darth Vader when he walks out of the smoke. We're not going, who's this guy? I don't understand. So, your argument's pointless because you can't actually apply it to anyone in the world because we all know Star Wars.
Confusing motivations, uninteresting characters, and no emotional investment.
Confusing motivations.
Yeah, it's really dumb. The motivations I thought was pretty clear. Like, not even getting into, like, her father or him doing bad things.
The child can understand it.
My point is, just go ahead and eat all that icing. Don't worry, you won't get diabetes.
Oh, shit. Oh, man. That was
Just try not to get too much of it in your beards.
And then I guess he shames fans for being excited about something. Okay, where would you rank Rogue One in, like, comparison to all the other movies?
I'd say the best movie is The Phantom Menace. No, I'm kidding.
Now this is pod racing!
That hurt.
What I liked about that scene with Darth Vader in the corridor is that he, like, took out his lightsaber and he started spinning it around, because that's a good trick.
Dude, I know how to end this video.
What?
I know how to do it.
What?
I've got, like, the most exciting thing, but I'll count down to it.
Oh my god.
5.
Oh my god.
4.
Dude.
3.
Holy shit.
2.
Oh my god.
1.
新チキン、美味しさに平和あり。